But first, Gary Tuchman tonight, keeping him honest.
It's become an agonizing ritual in Chicago, the makeshift memorials to young people killed. Angry town halls, this time gathering because of what we're seeing on the cell phone video camera. 16-year-old Darian Albert beaten to death by other kids. 4 youths have been arrested. Dr. Steven Salzman knows all about it firsthand. Since we first met the surgeon 3 months ago,
there have been 268 shootings. And of the 268 shootings, 100 of them have been teenagers.
And that's just one hospital. 37 public school students were killed in Chicago during the last school year. That compares with 23 in Los Angeles, which is a much larger city. This has been going on for years. So keeping them honest, we ask, why can't Chicago fix this murderous problem?
I think there are lots of things that have gone terribly wrong.
Ron Huberman is the CEO of Chicago's public schools, the boss. He says the schools are about to start spending $30 million in stimulus money for programs that will target at-risk teens. But that's certainly not a quick fix.
When you talk to parents whose kids go to some of the schools that have the highest crime activity, could you tell these parents with the look in their eyes, honestly, that it's safe for their kids to walk home by themselves?
Well, I can tell them that we're certainly doing everything in our power that we can to make them safe.
City Alderman Carrie Austin represents the neighborhood where Darian Albert was killed.
How come this is happening in your ward?
Well, I don't have a how come, because if I had a how come, I have a solution.
Alderman Austin has represented her ward, one of 50 districts in the city, for 15 years. And she has a most pitifully unique vantage point of this crisis. Of the 37 public school students killed in Chicago during the last school year, she says 13, more than one-third, were killed in her district.
What do you do here? You have so many young people killed in your area, in your ward. What are you doing about it?
Well, I think that I'm trying to provide as many social services as possible. I think that there's much more that, I think it needs to be a collaborative effort.
But doesn't it need more than social services and collaboration? I mean, we need to take really stringent action here. I mean, these are people children being killed.
Stringent actions such as what?
Well, I'm asking you. I'm the journalist, and you're the
that's what
leader.
I'm saying. You say stringent actions. I think that the stringent actions should be more social services so we can reach our children.
Are there not enough social services now?
I don't believe so.
The alderman does say there simply aren't enough cops in her neighborhood.
Have you stood up in the city council and said, we need more police?
Oh, yes, we do that every year.
And what happens?
Every year in our council, well, we are about getting more police officers, but we are losing also police officers to attrition. We've also addressed this with.
So why don't you say we need X number more?
But that's what I'm saying.
So
I'm telling you that more and more. We say that.
But why doesn't it happen? That's what I'm getting.
Then that would need to be addressed to my superintendent.
That was Gary Tuchman from Chicago. Let's talk with the superintendent. The alderman is referring to the city's top cop, police superintendent Jody Weis, who now joins me from Chicago. Superintendent, you hear the complaints. There are not enough cops. What are you doing about it?
We base all of our deployments on intelligence-led policing. We look at the facts, we gather information, we try to analyze that, and we try to put the cops on the dots at the right time of the day. There's never going to be enough police officers to just randomly saturate a city, so we do it based upon information that we receive, based upon intelligence that we derive, and then we try to put the officers in the key spots to make sure that these kids are safe.
Why are things seemingly worse in Chicago for young people going to school than in other cities with bigger populations? I mean, do you have a sense of what the problem is?
Well, I think you have to look at this recent tragedy. Here, a young boy, an honor student, a top-notch kid, he's killed by a mob of his peers who are filled with such hatred and such violence that they're willing to just snuff out his life. That's so hard to understand. Anyone watching that tape had to be horrified at the violence and just the anger in which he was struck down at the prime of his life. And I think we have to ask, how did it get like that? I think...
Are you saying it's parents, it's families?
No, what I'm saying is I think it's society. I think the White House hit it on the head when it's going to take community involvement. We have to attack this problem with every resource we have. I think Ron Huberman is right on target. The key to changing this attitude, keep the kids in school, they're safe in the schools, teach them conflict resolution. You know, we've got kids getting spun up over minor differences and reaching out and engaging in violence right away. They have to learn conflict resolution. I think that's critical so that they can deal with life.
A number of people have complained that the first police officers arriving on the scene of this brawl, of the brawl that killed this young man on Thursday, did not intervene. How could that happen?
Well, We've heard that allegation, and we've opened up an internal investigation, and we're certainly looking at that. But let me share with you what I do know. At 2:53, the first 911 call came in. At 2:55, a car was dispatched. Within a minute, that car was calling for an ambulance. That car was calling for additional units. I think what we have to ask is, why didn't the person filming this incident, this horrific incident, call 911?
Well,
why did this person then shop this video around to various news stations rather than turning it over to the police department? Those are questions I think we really have to ask. How did it get like that?
The other question I have about watching this video is there are probably more than a dozen folks, maybe 24 folks, who seem to be watching. Some are kind of just shouting, some are horrified, but just watching what is happening. You charged 4, or the authorities have charged 4 people in this beating. You're still looking for 3 more. And there's a lot of people out there who would watch this tape and know who these kids are. But are they coming forward? I mean, have people come forward?
Anderson, that is what deeply saddens me. This young man was killed. The entire city is outraged. And yet, we have gotten no tips, no calls.
Are you serious?
Students.
No one?
No one has called in that I'm aware of from talking to the detectives and provided us with any information. And that is unbelievable to me when the offenders are teenagers. They're involved with other teenagers that go to the same school and no one calls in. We are literally getting killed by this code of silence, this no snitching rule.
Well,
and we've got to work hard to overcome it.
This is something we've focused on a lot on this program over the years. I did a piece on 60 Minutes about it as well. This whole stop snitching effort. Rappers are telling people don't be a snitch. And now the definition of a snitch is not just somebody who is involved in a crime, doesn't want and tries to rat out someone else they were involved with. And now there's this horrible definition. Being a snitch is anybody who comes forward and talks about a crime they've seen. I mean, that's just a mentality that cannot be tolerated.
Absolutely, and that's why we've got to work as a community. As Alderman Austin said, it needs a collaboration. We've got to get these young folks realizing that if they don't say something, it's going to be a circle of violence, and today's offenders is going to be tomorrow's victims, and it's a circle that will not end. And we've got to work together to change that. We're committed to work with that. We've got great partners with the Chicago Public Schools. We've got a collaboration with them. We're sharing information. We are committed to change this. Unfortunately, I think it might take a little more time, but we will not waver from this mission.
Superintendent Jody Weis, appreciate you being on the program. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
The rapper Nas has written what he calls an open letter to Chicago's young warriors. We posted it on our blog. Go to ac360.com to read it.